Hi, thanks for watching today. We're excited to share with you the Tulsa, Oklahoma 2023 tax deed auction. We're going to take a look at how to buy tax deeds in this particular Oklahoma tax deed auction and a little bit in general about the market. What we've learned in general is that the Oklahoma market is not that competitive compared to other tax deed states, and the Tulsa auction is no different. It's going to be interesting for us to go through it because we're also new to this. This is only our second year tracking the Tulsa auction. So if you are an experienced investor in Oklahoma, we'd love to hear from you and learn from you as well as we're getting deeper into this too. So let's take a look at how do Oklahoma tax deed auctions work. If we're going to talk about Tulsa, we need to understand how these auctions work overall. So per state law, in the last few years, these counties have transitioned from tax liens to tax deeds. It appears that the old tax lien system was not very effective at recovering lost tax revenue. So moving to tax deeds, it looks like it was a move by the state to try to drum up that revenue and recover it. So far, again, it looks like it's not that competitive of a market by at least anecdotal measures. I don't have a great number to back that up. Just from what investors tell me, the Oklahoma tax deed market is just not that competitive compared to other states. So back to this issue of tax liens and tax deeds. Tax liens are still issued, but are sort of behind the scenes until they become tax deeds. And what that means is that those tax liens get issued to the county, and the county holds those liens essentially against the property, but they don't sell these publicly. What they do is they hold on to it until they mature into tax deeds and then go to auction, because that's the point where this is a foreclosable situation. The auctions use a premium bid format, very common with tax deeds. The only wrinkle to keep in mind is that the winning bid amount must be at least 2/3 of the assessment value. That's not the market value, it's the assessment value from the assessor's office, which is on their website, and we'll show you how to see that. When in Tulsa, it's actually going to be even easier. They set their opening bid at that 2/3 assessment already, so it's kind of just something to keep in the back of your mind. The auctions award the winning bidders with a resale deed, and we always talk about what happens to the unsold tax deeds. Those leftovers that are not sold can be purchased directly from the county when available. It's not really clear to us when available if it means that the county just decides there's not enough to sell, so they choose not to sell them, or if there really are no tax deeds left over, but there's only a handful of counties that have leftovers, it appears. So let's just take a look and visualize what that life cycle of an Oklahoma tax deed looks like. At the point from where a property goes tax delinquent, the county will issue a tax lien in October, and that tax lien is issued and held by the county for 2 years and 8 months. At which point, there's an annual county tax deed auction in June, like the one we're looking at in Tulsa. And the county holds those tax deed auctions to sell the liens that are eligible for tax deed foreclosure at that point, directly to investors. And then, as I mentioned, those leftovers go to over-the-counter. That's typically the case. It's not guaranteed, but if you can find over-the-counter tax deeds, it can be a great way to purchase at bottom price without any competition. So, zooming back in to focus on Tulsa and this year's tax deed auction, let's talk about what's in that auction. So, we've tracked 2 years of Tulsa auctions so far, and the 2023 one is slightly smaller than 22 by all measures that we know. At least the ones we typically track. Like, the number of parcels has decreased from around 1,400 to closer to 1,100. The structure percentage is actually down a little bit. It's nothing alarming, just 3%, from 77 down to 74. And then the total auction value and the total taxes due, that revenue they're trying to recover from the auction, they're also lower in 2023. So it could be that compliance has improved. Remember, we're on a 2-year lagging indicator, so who knows what was going on 2 years, 8 months before that could have caused the year difference here. But overall, we're just seeing that it's a smaller auction. So now that we've gone through Oklahoma tax deed auctions and Tulsa in particular, let's cut over and take a look at a live demo of how we can explore the auction and research using Parcel Fair. So this is Parcel Fair. If you've been on the channel here on YouTube very much, you've seen that this is our website. We have many states being listed here. Oklahoma is one of our smallest ones. We only have one auction because we essentially are new to Oklahoma and we're going by request only. So only Tulsa has been requested so far. If you would like to see other auctions, please reach out. We love to work with investors that know the areas and help get their research into this format. So when looking at this auction on the calendar for June 12th, we can really just view the properties in Tulsa County. That's everything that we have right now. And it pulls up a map like this. And so I have the county borders for Tulsa turned on. You can see it's an odd-shaped county, and the top corner of the city is actually in a different county. So we'll just take a look at what we have here. Starting from the west side, it's sort of a rural area. You actually have near the Arkansas River some large land here in the tax auction, 80 acres. And then you have some residential here on the outskirts as well with some acreage, even like a little pond here. That's kind of nice. And moving to the north part of the northwestern part of the county, some more residential area here near the waterfront. Not quite on it, but general area. Another residential here. Looks like someone let their side yard and trampoline go to auction. And just kind of moving towards the city, you can see all these yellow outlines are essentially properties that will be, as of now, advertised for the auction. Whether they make it to the auction or not depends on if the taxpayer pays before the auction. Here's some property on the waterfront of the Arkansas River. Looks like it's actually partially underwater too. So that would be an interesting find. I don't know what you would do with that. Over closer to the city, you'll see some dense residential areas like this with, you see a lot of rooftops on the satellite, and a lot of these sort of stick out with, get a little preview of the total value. Home values here are not really that high relative to the nation. You can see properties under $50,000 are not uncommon with a livable house on those properties. Could be a nice rental market if that hits your price point just right. And moving north of the downtown, we actually see quite a few properties in this neighborhood with, again, just kind of surfing over rooftops here. You can see a lot of these properties, $35,000, $23,000, $45,000. Very reasonably priced as far as just total value of the house. Moving to the north part of the county, we sort of get back into a rural area. There's more of these larger, and this is like a 40-acre tract. And we can sort of eyeball, just see the other areas up here that are undeveloped. So quite a variety here. There's a good bit of land. There's a trailer park here that's allegedly going to the auction. We'll see if the owner pays up before. So let's just zoom back out of the county. I'm going to switch back to this high contrast here. So the southern part of the county, very much like the northern, it's somewhat rural. You have some areas that have larger tracts of land. This one has multiple deeds, which means it's multiple units. Let's just click on it. Yeah, that's dense residential. So when you see a stack of deeds like that, that means you have unit 135 and building A4. All these different deeds you can look at individually for those different units inside of this complex, because they're all tracked separately by the tax assessor. So you can actually buy one unit in that particular case. So it's plenty to look at in this county, and when we're talking about the diversity of this county, I'll show you in a minute. There was actually quite a bit of commercial property in this auction, surprisingly. Before I go into some of the reports showing individual properties, I do want to show you, this is the actual website for the Tulsa County Treasurer, where you can see the announcement for the auction, the date, everything down to the list of properties, and they actually track a list of pay to remove properties separate. So we will download that and subtract those properties from what was initially published so that you can only see what remains. That's kind of a time saver for you, so you don't have to look at both lists. And this is what the actual list looks like. So this is, if you were not using Parcel Fair, you would have to take these properties one at a time and look them up on the assessor and the treasurer's website to fill in the blanks, to see the property, to also go to the GIS map and see what the outline of the property looks like. So it's a good bit of work when you're talking about 1,100 properties, going through all of these and understanding what's in the auction. So that's why we put it on the map for you. It really takes that process and lets you quickly either eliminate or add properties to your list. Right now, I clicked on the search filters because we're showing you everything in the county, but we can actually look at just improvements, or we could say minimum acres of 40 acres. We could set a total value minimum of $20,000, something like that. And just for showing that, let's just, that only got us one parcel. That must have, let's drop it to 20 acres with improvements. And now we're at 4 parcels. So you can see, if you have a strategy like that where you really want to get specific, let's drop it to 10 acres. And we're up to 12 parcels. But we're able to filter this auction down quickly and look at acreage, or maybe just the valuation is all we care about. Let's look at 30,000 and above with the structure. So now we're about half the auction is meeting that criteria. So that's a lot of properties. But this gets you a way to quickly filter, search, and really just identify the properties you'd want to pursue at auction and not have to navigate that list. So let's take a look at some of these particular properties. We'll start with some residential ones and show you, this is a Parcel Fair report that shows you everything from the acreage and zoning to the valuations that add up to $32,000 on this property. We have a nice street view photo. If you want to take a look at the neighborhood, you can click on this panorama view button, and that's going to let us see the property as well as what's nearby. So yeah, you get a nice idea before you ever bother going to the property of what is in the area. This purchase option for the upcoming auction in green, that will tell us everything about when is the auction, where is it, how to register. This actually takes us back to that website that I just showed you, to the treasurer, to see how to register and go to the tax sale. And underneath the satellite photo, we have an area under research links that has a link directly to the assessor's property report. So you don't have to go look up this property because we just link straight to it. Now you've looked it up without having to even search for it. So we try to get it right at your fingertips and make it as convenient as possible. And I want to point out, on this property, the amount due is $2,608. If you remember, that's not because that's the taxes due, but it's 2/3 of the assessment. And if we go back to that property report card, you'll notice that the assessment is around $3,500. Remember, the market value is $32,000, assessment is $3,500. So 2/3 of that is roughly $26,0801. So that will be the opening bid at the auction. They went ahead and made that very easy for you. You don't have to even calculate it. But on the assessor's website, we can see more information about zoning and the valuations, the sales. So as you're digging into a property, it's good to use these research links. You can also see like the assessor parcel map will take you straight to their map, where you can see similar information and click on nearby properties if you want to learn about those. And just one other link will actually take you to the Tulsa County Treasurer, but there's not much to see there, so we'll just skip over that. I want to show you some more residential properties while we're here, just to get an idea of the variety. This one is a much higher valuation. These are pretty rare in tax deed auctions like this. It's a good chance this property will pay its taxes before the auction, but if it doesn't, somebody will probably pick up a really good deal, unless it gets bid very high, who knows. So the amount due on this one, the starting the starting bid will be $8,434. This is extremely rare. This really nice house with high valuation. If we were going to take a look at this property, we might want to save it for later. I'm going to create a list and call it Tulsa Auction List, and just add that property to my Tulsa auction list so I can come back and pick it up later. I'm going to add a note and say really nice house available. We'll say 300K valuation. Now I've added notes to it. I could actually, if I get photos, I could add attachments here and save photographs of the property. Actually, I just stumbled upon something interesting. Is this property was in last year's tax auction too. So it looks like the owner must have paid last year and then it went delinquent again this year. So 2 years in a row it's been in the tax deed auction. So that's how and I might want to add it to my favorites. It's just a quick way to keep track of properties. Like you put them in your list, you can add them to favorites, add notes to them. Ultimately, what we were trying to help you do is keep track of your research so you don't get 10 steps into this and forget why you're interested in this house. This is another pretty high value house. Not your normal tax deed property, but it's another residential example. And this one looks interesting. It's a little bit older. Again, another high valuation. But the same, you see the consistent reporting that we give you. You can click on the assessor. You can click on the auction details. You could go to the panorama view, do whatever you need to do to research this house further before you actually go get photos or see it in person. And just this is another residential example. So quite a few nice houses in this auction. This is that trailer park we looked at earlier. So it's zone commercial, so we're kind of pivoting into those commercial properties that I mentioned. There were a lot more commercial properties than I expected, with high valuations too. I don't know if they'll be available to purchase, but if they are, there could be some good deals. This is the total valuation is $897, and the bidding starts at $66,000 on this property. This one is interesting. It's a vacant commercial property. So it's in an opportunity zone as well, which could be of interest for certain investors. And you can just, again, we're kind of seeing the same report structure here just to show you the consistency. Let's look at a few more commercial properties. We won't take too much longer though. This is another one on 3 1/3 acres, $400,000. It's like a warehouse and maybe 2 warehouses. Also located in an opportunity zone. This one is some type of strip mall that could also commercial. Another looks like an old Subway, possibly needs some work based on the fencing and construction looking. There could be some rehabilitation needed on that property, who knows. Another commercial property here valued at $285,000 on 1/3 of an acre. And just a couple more here. Small strip mall there, another one there, and this unique looking storefront with a rounded roof. I don't know what that is, but it's another property that could be of interest to you. And again, you know, I encourage you to, if you have interest in the Oklahoma market, try this out and see. There could be low competition at this auction from what we've heard, and some great deals. So the last thing we're going to touch on is, I mentioned early in the video that the leftover properties go to the over-the-counter list. So Tulsa actually keeps a properties for sale list of things that did not sell at auction. Right now, the entire list has 1 property in it. This is probably the lowest point of the year because we're about to go into an auction in a few weeks. And so after that auction, we'll keep an eye on this for you. And if properties show up that are left over, we'll throw those on the website so you can shop over the counter even after the sale is complete. And so we'll see if anything's left. Again, it depends on how competitive this auction is. They might sell everything, or maybe there will be leftovers for you to pick through afterwards. But I hope this was a good video for you. It's we're certainly new to Oklahoma, and it seems like an exciting low competition market to get into compared to some of the other states that we have. And there's a lot going on in June, especially in states like Florida, and then Arkansas is warming up. So this is maybe just a nice little pit stop for you to check out a different market before you move into those other auctions. So, and if you have expertise in Oklahoma, we'd love to work with you. Reach out on the comments or on our contact form, and let's start up a dialogue and see what we can learn together. So thanks again for watching, and have a great day.